Hey, good afternoon, Susan. I am connecting right now. Give me 1 second here. I had to go back and find an old link. And I was actually thinking this was tomorrow, but RYD Group 7, here we go.
All right, that's me. Yeah.
Okay, can you hear me, Susan?
Yeah, just a minute. There Now I don't sound like an echo chamber. Better? Jay? Jay?
Hey, there you are.
Yeah, I had my video off. Well, how was the graduation?
Mhm. Oh,
Did the graduation go well?
all right. How about now? Can you hear me now, Susan?
I can hear you, I just can't see you.
Not hearing you.
There we go. There we go.
I don't know if it's your end or my end, but I'm seeing your lips move, but I can't hear you.
Maybe that's good. I don't know why.
I'm going through my sound setting just to make sure I'm not missing anything here. I still can't hear you.
My speaker's on the, let's see. It's on.
Okay, I got you.
Okay. I just had to mute it and unmute it for some reason.
Well, I've got this sound mixer. I had to bring up my volume, and actually, as far as apps were concerned, when I brought it up, it was showing Zoom all muted. So it was actually on my end. Um,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Yeah, because I can't put my computer on because it doesn't have the speakers on. Or if it does, it makes it sound like it's in a well.
Uh,
How was your graduation? How was your
oh
daughter's graduation?
man, it was phenomenal. My daughter was a valedictorian.
Yeah.
So she, of course, did a valedictorians always get to have a little speech, and
Speech.
she
Yeah.
gave a speech. She wrote it herself, and I mean, it was adult level material on success and character. It was pretty pretty impressive.
You were shocked as a father.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I was like, she come up with that on her own. It was something else.
Well, congratulations to both of you and
Oh,
your wife.
thank you. That was pretty neat. And then had a lot of had a sister from Georgia up here along with her son or my nephew. And then she's never actually met my daughter, believe it or not, but she's had
Oh my God.
yeah, kidney transplant, been on dialysis, not been able to travel. So she's finally, had a kidney transplant here about a year ago and then some other things, but this was like her first time. She's about 54, first time since the mid 90s where she's actually been able to travel, for leisure and not just medical. So that was pretty neat. And of course, my mother made it up with her husband, and my mother and my other two sisters all made it up. So all three of us and my mom have been together since 2005. So then my wife had
Oh,
siblings all up here, aunts and uncles and cousins. So it was a full house, and it was just incredible blessing to have everybody together. It was wonderful.
that's wonderful. That's
Yeah.
wonderful.
Yeah. Okay, let's
It's like
kick
you
this
and me
off.
again.
Yeah, yeah, and we got this, you got a recording notice on your end, correct?
Yep.
Okay. So we got a couple things I want to go through. But however, can you kind of give me a rundown of where are you at? What, how
All right.
can I
All right.
best
I'm
serve today?
hours from going for the second test on trade evade. I
Okay.
will be at 25,000. I mean, I will have done the 1,500 tomorrow morning. I've learned don't trade more than 4 times in the morning, or I will chase a trade and then I get stopped out at 4 o'clock.
Uh-huh. Okay.
And so I trade 4 times if no matter how much I make. So I will make it through the 1,500 tomorrow, and then I do the second 1,500 to prove that I'm doing, that I'm actually pretty good at it.
Well, that's
Isn't that kind of the test time
say that
for
again.
because from what I understand from all of you guys, that you have to do the first 1,500, and the second 1,500 is to prove that you are actually good at this. It's not a fluke.
And I think that's a good way to interpret it, because you have the evaluation portion. So
Right.
just for the sake of numbers, we'll say you've got a 25,000 Apex account. The target profit is $1,500. Okay, so when it's in the very first, you open up the account, it's brand new, it's an evaluation account at that moment in time. Okay, when you take that balance and you are able to earn, basically $1,500, then that brings that balance to 26,500. Okay, most important thing at that moment in time is to stop trading that account. Let it go. Put it aside. Because generally within 24 hours, sometimes the same day, you're going to get a notification or an email from Apex, and they're going to say congratulations with some guidance or instructions to go into your dashboard. And then you're going to go click on this thing that says signatures. And then you're going to go ahead and kind of sign some disclosures and other information there. And then you go back in and you've got a payment link. And then, of course, that's where you're no longer going to pay for the subscription of the evaluation account. However, you will have a new payment and a subscription for the actual performance account or the funded account. Okay, and so then it becomes, instead of like Apex, with a number of account, it's actually got a little different name to it. You can just kind of differentiate what's the funded, the PA account versus the A account. So then you're exactly right. So then there is no difference between what your objectives are with the evaluation account. There's no difference between day one when you start or you have your first trade in your performance account, because basically you're starting at, let's just say again, say 25,000. You're starting at 25,000. You have the same trailing drawdown of 1,500 with a target profit of 1,500. Okay. Now, where it gets different is once you hit that target profit of 1,500 plus 100, you no longer have the trailing drawdown.
Okay.
And that's where it gets positive. So my coaching advice would be slow it down to speed it up,
Oh,
for the
I've been slowing it
performance
down.
account, and this is where you want consistency to kind of come into play. This is where you're executing your plan. This is where you don't trade more than 4 trades if that is your rule. This is where take the small gains, take the base hits and walk away.
I am.
Because again, it's because once you get to where you no longer have a trailing drawdown, This is my approach, is I want a third $1,500.
Mhm.
That's my cushion.
Right.
Okay, so now I no longer have a trailing drawdown, but hey, at least I give myself an additional 1,500. So in all actuality, at that moment in time, when I do hit that third 1,500, well, I do have a $3,000 buffer or cushion, on the 25K account. So
Right.
you got a $3,000 buffer. However, 1,500 of that, you're just $1,500 away where there's no trailing drawdown. Then the final piece of it, in my mind, is one more 1,500 goal. So you got a 25,000K account, and I think the most logical, sound way or process is to basically take it to $6,000. $6,000 means 1,500 in your evaluation. Then it becomes a PA account or a performance account. Second 1,500, you've now hit your target profit and no longer really have a trailing drawdown. Third 1,500 is your cushion, so that you don't have to worry about starting over. You want to give yourself a buffer. The fourth 1,500, which is why I'm saying 6,000, is because now I'm going to start paying myself twice a month. If I take it up to another 1,500, say over a month, well, reality is maybe I've got it at $700 up. Take a payout. And then on the second half of the month, if you earn another $700, take another payout. But once you have that $1,500 buffer above and beyond in your performance account, then you can actually start. And I would recommend, hey, pay yourself. You deserve it. But probably always leave a little bit more in.
Right.
Than you're taking out. And if in fact you don't have profit, say in 2 weeks, well, maybe you don't take a withdrawal or a payment, that particular pay period.
Right.
So that to me is the model that I'm going by. Because once
I'd heard you guys talking about it in the other group. And so that's what I'm aiming for.
Yeah. So that's a lot of
I've also started trading crude because it's not as crazy as the NQ.
Yeah.
Although,
you having a lot of success with the crude?
in the last 2 days.
Well, good.
NQ reminds me of Ethereum, $50 and 50-point drop, these long wicks.
Yeah.
To wipe you out.
Yeah, I learned a couple hard lessons with the NQs. And actually, have you ever traded with the Trade-Evate platform, or are you just using TradingView solely?
I'm going to keep using TradingView until I'm fully funded. And I'm also thinking about, because you and Anthony were talking about Ninja.
Yeah,
which is
NinjaTrader.
similar, right?
Oops,
It's similar to the Trade-Evate platform. But I understand TradingView more than you trade.
Yeah. And when you're trading, well, be careful what I say here. I want to be accurate, but if you're trading like one account at a time, man, it's like, why even worry about, NinjaTrader? Why even worry about, the Trade-Evate platform? I mean, TradingView works excellent. And I have not done it, but the copy trader that is integrated within the NinjaTrader platform, which I use, because I actually trade more than one account. I only trade one account at a time, but all the accounts within the copy trader are executed the exact same trade,
Right. Oh, I know that. And that's what I'm going to do, Ninja. But I already have the Trade-Evate account. So
yeah,
I
that's
guess
part of
I've got to learn the stuff.
yeah,
But I
part of your
thought I'd
Apex.
first Yeah, I first learned how to do this stuff before I copy.
Yeah. And, but what I'm getting at is I've not done it yet. However, there is a integration piece for the copy trader so that we can trade within TradingView if we wanted to go out and purchase, and maybe if I would have went that route initially, I wouldn't have had to pay for it twice, but it appears if I want to add that copy trader like to my laptop or to the TradingView, that I just need to probably purchase it again for like another $75. But what I like about that is if you really, really like the TradingView, even with as you scale your trading business, I just can't imagine why anyone would not want to add, other accounts over time.
Right.
And
I will.
TradingView
I
is
just
integratable with a copy trader. So
I blew them up. Thank God you guys gave us the the discount code, because I blew them up 3 days in a row.
yeah, yeah, it happens. I mean, it's almost um, the psychology of an account that costs you like $33 or let alone 16, and some change. It doesn't bode well, from a discipline perspective. Because I'll go in, just like I did actually, I had one that I was just trading yesterday, kind of by itself, and and I got it up, about $900, and then I was kind of done for the day. But I kind of forgot about that high balance, and so the amount to draw down was really like only, I mean, still 1,500, but it would have been like 24,400. Well, I had it grouped with a bunch of other accounts, and I actually had a fairly decent drawdown this morning. So that one there actually triggered, and I actually blew it up. So I hit reset on it, and then I just traded it by itself and then turned around and funded it, in an hour.
Right.
But I'll do that when there's, I'll do one account at a time. I won't go in there, with the 2, 3, or 4 minis on one account, and do that across my copy trader. No, nope. I look at base hits, very small drawdown. Once I down like $300, on per account,
I'm out.
I'm done. I'm done for the day.
Yep.
I'm done
Yep.
for the day. And that $300 is just because I have a cushion built in. But if I lose
But you
300 a
don't
couple
need to
times,
go for any. Yeah, you don't need to go for anything more than a base hit if
no,
you're copy trading.
no, because the way it's laid up for me now is I can go. I've actually got all 20 accounts. Let me see here my math, but I mean a $50 profit on any given day, across 20, actually be 21 accounts, because I do have a Blue Ski account, utilizing that funded account program, and I'm just using that for my fully automated bots within NinjaTrader, within the push button trading world. So I've actually got 21, but $50, across 21 different accounts, is an average daily trading, exceeding $264,000 a year.
Yeah.
Just a base hit of $50.
Right.
So I'm like, you know what? Who cares if it takes me? Because like right now, I'm taking. I've got my 20 accounts, and I'm going for 100 to 150 a day, and then by middle to end of July, I'm funded to that $6,000 model that I was telling you about. $100 a day is 60 trading days. That's 3 months. So
it's gonna be such a blessing too.
yeah. So I'm like, not in a hurry now. What's kind of fun, especially with the discount, is it's like I took a one account today. I kind of blew it up, but I ended up just kind of funding that today, and I'll end up just kind of taking another account tomorrow, and I'll kind of do the same thing. So over, the next few weeks, I will go in and try to fund them in a day, one at a time, and if I have to reset them, I reset them. You know, it's a small portion of an hour to be able to do that. And so maybe I'll save a couple weeks, you know, in the 60 trading day model that I'm using.
Right.
But bottom line,
Well, I just learned, because if I get down, don't hold it, especially when it's around 11 o'clock in the day.
yeah, what
It
time?
may go all the way bottom and sit there and take forever to get back up, and by that time it's 4 o'clock and
Yep.
you're out on the couch.
Yep. And that's what kind of even got me this morning, because even with my strategy, once I go up and I retest kind of like the session high, and it kind of gets rejected from there.
Yeah,
I
by
expect
2 or 3 points.
Yeah, and I expect it to kind of roll over and come down and like sweep, you know, a high volume area, you know, like with the volume profile, and more times than not, even the VWAP. Today it didn't quite make it all the way down to the VWAP, but it definitely made it down to that point of control, you know, on a volume profile, and that is normal behavior. But I on this one account, I just did not have the drawdown ability. And so before it got down there, I was good on all my other accounts, because I'm tired of, you know, bleeding myself to death. So I went ahead and accepted the drawdown with a high degree of confidence that I was going to bounce up off that point of control. And I did, but right before I got there, the one account, I just lost a little SA on where the drawdown was on that one, because it was so separate from the others.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, when I started over last Friday, it was so hard to make myself get up when I hit 250. I'm like, you're not doing any more than this. You're going to get up from this computer and you're going to walk away.
Smart.
It was tough. And so I forced myself to do it the last 2 days. So I finally made it to within $31
Yeah.
of hitting the 1500. But I'm going to do it this way all the way through till I'm fully going.
I like hearing that, Susan. That really motivates me, because that
And
is
the way I do
exactly
it
what
is
it takes.
listen to you and Jeremy. Oh, you
Yeah.
guys keep talking. Force me to behave myself.
Uh, that's really good. I mean, it really is a slow down to speed up business.
Yeah.
You know,
Count my how many times it does the S, and I've figured out, man, 2 S's, and I may not wait for the third one
uh,
until we go down and consolidate and come back up.
but doesn't it feel a lot better to just be $31 short versus being impatient
Having to pay the $33 again, yes,
and
it
then
does.
start over at zero? Yeah,
Yeah,
and have
yeah.
1,500 to go. So, well, that's very good. Let's look at a couple things. I want to just kind of highlight. Let me go ahead and share my screen here.
So the videos I listen to the most,
Yeah,
10 EMA. I listen to it every single day from both of you to force myself to wait till that color changes on the 10 EMA. Hilarious.
wait for the candle to close.
Yep.
Yeah, that is so important. All right, some things I kind of want to just highlight that I think are definitely worth. It's kind of my theme for this week. Actually, is um, the importance. There's three price areas on any daily chart that I think just need to be identified and respected. Let me go ahead and even text this right here. We'll say 3 price zones on each daily chart that deserve respect and should be part of any futures trading plan. Okay, any questions on that so far?
No.
Yeah, because what I'm going to identify is we're going to kind of have a Globex, meaning that high and that low outside when the US market is open. That's one.
I mark it.
Then number two is, for the most part, it is that US market high and low, which actually more times than not is right around that first hour. That's usually pretty much done and identified by 1 hour after the market opened. Okay, so some folks will actually just say, hey, at 60 minutes, I've kind of got my high and low, high or low, for the US market identified. Okay, then price zone number three, it's kind of twofold, but it's that if you've got kind of a volume profile or a means to look at a volume profile and kind of see the point of control. So it's going to be that point of control from a volume profile or that VWAP. Those of them, really do function very similar. And a lot of times they are within the same price area anyway, not always. But like today, never did make it back down to VWAP. However, point of control was very much a part of price action today. Okay, so
Were
that's
you
what
trading it? Were you trading NQ?
NQs, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah. We were, let me get back over here to the 5 minute
I had it up.
on the NQs. Yeah. So you can see it was overall turned out to be very well with their all-time high. I mean, go back to the daily chart. I mean, it wasn't until towards the end of session. Actually, I think it might even been after the US market closed. But bam, here's the all-time high, which again, previous day's high. That was labeled well before I even started trading this morning. And then these other, like this purple line here, I believe will confirm it, but I believe that's where I had the kind of the high for like the US market, like 1 hour after the market opened, there was a lot of resistance right through here, on the 5 minute chart.
Right.
But the bottom line, here's the daily chart. You can see where we're at. I mean, we're bullish.
Very much so.
We are definitely bullish. So, but three price zones that deserve respect, and I believe should be part of all our trading plans. So one, we're going to say, I'll call it Globex. Okay. Okay. So just again, Globex high, Globex low. That's that high and low outside when the US market is not open.
Right.
Number two, high and low.
Okay.
Basically 0930 to 1600 Eastern Standard Time.
Right.
Okay. Another way to kind of look at this one here is near or kind of consistent with kind of strategic supply and demand, strategic support if low and resistance if high. So 60 minutes after the market opens, there just seems to be so much more activity, around those price zones. If it's going up, about 60 minutes after the market opens, a lot of times is where we are teasing, maybe we're testing the Globex high, or there's some support there. But once we kind of hit that 1 hour, if price breaks up above that, a lot of times all we got to do is kind of wait for a retest back down into that particular 60-minute price zone, or that price area right there. And then if it becomes support, well, then we can recognize, hey, we very well might be in a trend today, a bullish trend. If it breaks out above that and then it comes back down, retests, and it gets rejected, well, then that's where we can kind of anticipate a drop in price or a sweep down into, like VWAP or that point of control. And it's the same exact thing if we're down at the bottom. If price just comes down at 5:30 or 9:30 Eastern Standard Time when the market opens, a lot of times it might be within 15 minutes you've actually identified your low of the day. That's actually very common, and it could be either way. But it's just the idea that, hey, at 60 minutes later, did it go any lower? Maybe it did create the low of the day at 15 minutes after the market opened, and then price actually went back up. And then it's 60 minutes later is where now we not only have a low that was really identified at the first 15 minutes of the market, but then price just kind of turned and went back up, and now at 60 minutes later, after the market opens, we're kind of seeing that price zone, upper limit. And so that's 1 and 2. And then number 3, is our VWAP and or, point of control. Highest volume price from a volume profile. Any questions on that?
No. And when I told you I won't trade that third S curve, which is normally until it comes back down and starts back up again with full consolidation, because I've gotten nailed in going out to that outer band of VWAP, knowing full well I shouldn't go out there.
Actually, I have a deep appreciation for what you're saying, because again, that's like Elliott wave is. Let's see if I can draw one here. Yeah, so it's like, 1,
Yeah.
2, 3, 4, 5.
Right.
You get 3 distinct highs. That's where we really have to pause a little bit and expect a possible little pullback of sorts. It may
maybe no going, and maybe not going up anymore.
exactly
a reversal.
How many times do we identify? And a lot of times it might take 60 minutes after the market's open. Sometimes it's quicker, but 3 distinct Elliott wave highs is something to very much put a lot of weight into. Absolutely. It's the same thing going down.
Yep.
We start
So
here.
I'm staying until I get fully funded. I'm staying in the first 2. Thank you.
But Susan, there's wisdom in that. There's wisdom in that. I mean, the third peak is pretty common.
I know. But if you go just a little bit too high, then you're left in the dust, maybe.
You go too high, and this is what happens.
Yeah.
Oh, it just falls down this line. No, there's a lot of wisdom in that, Susan. I'm proud of you. That's a great observation.
I learned my lesson.
Yeah, because
I
here's
mean, here on that, you could have done the third one, but the fourth one, I would have been. Oh, there's a couple more, but there's some serious retrenchment on the third one.
yeah. And so today we ended up having some additional waves. If you kind of look at this
Yeah,
one here, but let's
yeah.
just kind of start from this really a textbook double bottom, with a hammer
Yeah.
candle, on the second leg. But let's just start there. One, and really you go one, down, down,
Mm-hmm.
up, and then things kind of do consolidate. So let's just
Mm-hmm.
identify that one first. We'll go, there's one, there's two, there's three, there's a pullback, and then right here's our third distinct area. And again, price comes up to this point of control. See
Right.
this? So one, two, a higher high, three, pull back four, and then we got our biggest leg is this third peak, which actually is the fifth leg in an Elliott wave.
Mm.
And then things kind of go sideways for a while. Then we could kind of look at
Today
it again.
it went on up, yeah.
Yeah,
But you
so
got to figure out if there's going to be another set of them.
there's another one right there. So
Yeah.
it kind of consolidates, goes sideways, but instead of coming back, very strong support on this 100 exponential moving average.
Right.
Okay. We never do come down and retest the VWAP, but our 100 EMA does it for us, becomes support. In addition, you can see this largest amount of transactions on this volume spike right here, point of control.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to, this line here, the orange, I put that on top of point of control. I'll drag it up here for right now. But you can go into indicators and pull up volume profile. I think it's a little sluggish, but what I'll do is I just come into my drawing tools. And then down here, you got this anchored volume profile.
Mm-hmm.
I just click on that and I just kind of drop it somewhere on the chart. And it pulls it right in just in like milliseconds, where the indicator to me kind of is a little sluggish. And then if it's cluttering my screen up too much, this is where I'll grab this bright orange line. And I'll come down and I'll drop it right on point of control. And I'll lock it.
Then you can see it. Then you can see
Yeah, and then I'll
it.
actually delete maybe the actual volume profile for a while, because I want to track if it changes. Because volume point of control can adjust over time. But see how this point of control and VWAP, VWAP's kind of working its way back up towards, point of control. But there was just a big move from when the market opened. Well, actually from 4 in the morning, it just really dropped down. There was a lot of volume that actually brought VWAP down with it. And then it just slowly started coming back up as price, increased. But that volume anchored volume profile, is right here in our projection list. Same list where our long and short tool are, is where you can kind of find that anchored volume profile. And maybe you already use that, Susan. I just want to make sure anybody that does listen to this video is aware of
right. And you can also look at it on Freightavate. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, Elliott wave again, very applicable here. 100 EMA is becoming support. But this previous day's high, so this is maybe actually this is what it kind of looks like, around 5:30 in the morning. So what am I doing to prepare for the day? Well, I'm looking left. And this actually is, Yeah, previous day's high,
Mhm.
you know, which happened to be set the day prior when the US market was open. Okay, that's why I did call it previous day's high, because this is actually the US market is open right here when we did make an all-time high. But I knew this was a very psychological price zone. You know, in other words, if we make it back up to that today, probably going to go right through it like butter. Just not sure if we're going to hold up there or not. The second price area is again US market, but previous day low. And I just label both as such. Okay. Now these purple lines, I have them purple. And it's just kind of the military in me, but purple is really the color for joint, you know, like joint, you know, like Air Force and Army together, you know, or all the services together, then it becomes kind of a joint force. And so I use purple because now I'm looking at, hey, here's really is kind of my Globex high and low, because you got to realize all this price here is outside the hours of when the US market is open. This is about 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time over here, or 2 p.m. Alaska. And then down here is where right before the US market opens, you know, before 5:30 Alaska or 9:30 Eastern Standard Time. So I've got these purple lines because I do know there's a lot of activity, and I can make decisions based around this high and this low. So that addresses the two of the three price zones that we want to make sure are part of every plan. Does that make sense?
Yes. Oh yeah, I mark them too.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So then the other area that we're just really wanting to make sure we're tracking is this point of control. And then this VWAP as
Right.
the market opens and as things progress.
Go ahead and put today's on there so you can, yeah. You went right through yesterday's top. Yep.
Yeah. So I like this double bottom this morning, and I did make a play of getting in here. And then I was kind of, the VWAP was a little bit low. I expected to at least come up and interact with the VWAP, and didn't know if it was really going to stay up. But this point of control was one that I put a lot more weight on this point of control these days than I used to. There's wisdom in that. And so being able to kind of stay in, even though I'm below my 100 EMA, but I was able to, had a good double bottom here.
Mhm.
So getting in above here and then kind of having a little drawdown in this area here. But again, I'm like, hey, my point of control is clear up here, and my VWAP is still up here. Good, solid double bottom, higher low right here. More times than not, Susan, that's a good trade, at least for me.
Right.
And but being below VWAP and below point of control, and I can't remember even like these nodes here that are kind of hard to see, but again, there's just a lot of, you can anticipate a lot of good support when overall trend is bullish. And if we can kind of get back up above, you know, this price zone, this price area, well, these nodes right here can be indicative of some pretty good support. So it gives us another degree of confidence.
Confirmation.
Yeah,
Mhm.
confirmation and confidence that, hey, you know what, overall trend is bullish. We know that from looking at the daily. It really kind of textbook double bottom here, high or low. So I was set to be bullish from this time on right here. And it kind of comes up, and see how it just kind of bounces, gets rejected right here. And this is where
That's
a lot
part
of
of
times,
consolidation. Yeah.
yeah, and this is where I will expect, and again, many times, more times than not, we will roll on over and come down and interact with VWAP once we get rejected, you know, from this either the Globex high or a previous US market high. This happened to be like the Globex high. What the high was since the outside US markets during the same session. Did make it down to VWAP, but we definitely made it down through the point of control. And here we just observe 100 MA becoming support, gives us another confirmation that yes, it looks like things are remaining bullish overall. Okay, then we come up here and we do breach, that Globex high, but it can't hold, but we have a higher high, and it comes back over and we have a higher low. So again, I knew I had no business shorting today. That's really the takeaway of being able to stay above, like the VWAP. Look at one of our key moving averages working as support. It's like, okay, I'm staying above 100 EMA. I'll look at getting in on the pullbacks, but no business going short when it's such a bullish stock. Again, we made an all-time high today. So who wants to short a stock that is making a brand new all-time high? That's what I have to remind myself, because I tend to like to dive in when I get a big bearish candle.
Yeah.
But
you can't help but think that's a smart thing to do.
I couldn't for a while. But where I'm kind of like, you've got your 4 trade rule. Well, I've got a rule that says, hey, when overall trend is bullish, and we had this big sell-off, from basically an hour and a half before the US market opened, a big Globex sell-off, liquidation taking place. Well, as soon as the US market opens up, we get a nice 5-minute bull candle. It comes down to retest that open, and then it takes off. It basically remained bullish all day long. No, like when this candle come in, you look at another one. Are we going to roll all the way down to VWAP, or even to these nodes down here? We could. When it did not.
They were very short pullback.
Yeah.
Very short.
Yeah. And as soon as we observe something like this right through here, where it just wicks down through the 100, doesn't even make it down to VWAP, that's another bias towards
buyers
staying bullish. Absolutely. Yeah. So then we make a higher high here from today's session. When the US market's open, it pulls back a higher low. Again, just looking at getting in. And the fact that it makes a higher high here, now I'm starting to think, hey, before today's session ends, we might come up and at least get a wick or something into the all-time high, which actually happened to be yesterday's high. Okay, so here we did it. Right at 30 minutes before the market closes, we actually set a new all-time high, but we kind of get rejected. Comes right back down into the 10 EMA. And then what happens? Here come the bulls. There's a lot of psychology right here. So then we go up, we reach the all-time high, retest it, and basically stay above it the rest of the session.
And look at how much the volume comes down after that.
Oh, yeah.
None.
A big spike right here because you got 1155. So US market is it's the last 5 minutes of the US market right here. All this traffic here is US market closed. So now we're dealing with the Globex again, because the US market is closed here. This is the last 5 minutes of it, but now we're dealing with kind of the Globex customer base. Volume dropped way off, but look how our price still stayed up. So that's pretty good divergence to also say, hey, there's a lot of strength in this price, because the price remained high with a big drop in volume. However, I don't put a lot of weight into that last hour of the market, but this is a true divergence. Lower volume, but yeah, price did not, come down with decreased volume. It did stay up there.
Tomorrow's going to be interesting.
Yeah, it really will. all-time highs, yesterday and today. Very interesting to me. Very interesting to me. But one thing I like about futures, and what I really wanted to kind of make sure that we just spend a little bit time, and it sounds like I'm trying to preach to the choir here. But I think it's real important to understand those very distinct different price zones that we can make decisions, if it's 10 EMA strategy, if it's, getting in above a hammer, on a double bottom, or a hammer anywhere, a hammer, wicking down into the VWAP or 100 EMA is another good condition to consider getting a position, going along. Maybe it's a indecision candle, like here you got an indecision candle. Maybe your strategy is, hey, if this is a lower high indecision, maybe you expect it to kind of roll over. Well, you may utilize an indecision candle, say, okay, if it does break below this indecision, I'm going to go short. If it breaks above this indecision, I'm going to go long. But we've got way too much data at this point here to say, hey, you know what? I'm not going short today. If I do go short, it would be up above these key, like Globex high, and I would micromanage that trade. Meaning, I would
the
not.
The minute it starts going south, I cancel it.
Exactly. The moment I start getting drawdown, I'd be out. But if it kind of kept going down and I was in the money, I say, okay, it's very possible I'm going to come down and interact with the 100 EMA. But it could be one of those where it just wicks for a split second, it's back up, and then you're right back to where you entered for the most part.
I have killed a couple that I was going to make money. I eventually would have made money on, but I was not taking the chance. Or just wasn't.
Don't blame you. So
after 3 days, I'm going to, by God, play it as conservatively as I possibly can. As you can tell, I walked away with $31.
Yeah, short $31. I tell you, I'm proud of you, Susan. I'm proud of you, because that's the type of discipline. And it should be a joy to walk away. A joy because you're like, hey, this is my predetermined plan, my playbook. And I didn't hit my target. I'm 31 short. However, I did hit my target for my playbook. And the true victory in that trade today was you walking away. It wasn't the idea that you were positive at the end of the day, and just $31 shy of actually having a funded account. The true victory is having the discipline to walk away per your plan. That's very good.
Today was easier than it was last Friday. I had blown 4 accounts up, 3 accounts up, and this was my 4th in a week.
Wow. It does happen, and I do believe with the futures and the it's a very competitive industry from a prop firm perspective, funded account perspective, which I think is good for us traders, because now we have a lot more choices. And if I would have known a year ago really where we would be today from an industry perspective, I would have went futures without thinking twice. I wouldn't have paid for $1,000 for a funded account ever.
Right.
It's to me absurd now that I'm aware of what's out there through other entities. When they're competing, prop firms are competing for traders' business, and now we get opportunities where it's less than $17 to get a funded account. Yeah, it's a whole different way of looking at things. So,
and you can make more money, because you can do the copy.
Yeah, and a lot of it is 90% profit share, versus the 75 that's in some of those others. So, and a lot of it you don't even have profit share until you know, X amount of payouts and amounts.
Heck, I 10,000. I'm not, yeah.
Yeah. So any questions on anything we covered today, Susan?
No, I'll just go back and listen to it tomorrow. I'll have your little voice while I'm trading.
There we go. But here's just kind of a recap. This is really what I wanted us to kind of walk
Right.
with today, and you're already doing it. You know, it's just I wanted to spend a little time to really highlight. And again, all our strategies work within this framework. You know, if it's 10 EMA,
Right.
if that's your strategy, it works within this framework. Realize that, hey, when you get up around, you don't want to go long on a 10 EMA if your Globex high is, you know, maybe a quarter or a half of an hour away. It's not good risk to reward, and you can expect some type of reaction, you know, at that high or low.
Right.
And same thing with that, you know, once 60 minutes passes, or we're, you know, if we're at the high of the day and the US market opens, well, we've known from the beginning, well, that's not where we're going to go long on 10 EMA. You know, we do need to wait for that pullback. Now, the kind of exception to that is if you're in fairly early and got this very strong bullish momentum, and you've got your chart all identifying, hey, previous day's high, you know, and maybe the Globex high, and then, you know, so US market might be down here, and yeah, it's making new highs today, but you've got all this reward space, you know, from where you're getting a 10 EMA up to your Globex high, and even up to your previous day's high.
Right.
Yeah. So no different than like the equities, you know, trading Tesla. When we look at it through that lens,
If you think about it, we didn't trade Tesla, but maybe a week before or 2 weeks
yeah,
before
is that our
everything
time
went.
frame? Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
It
And look at
wasn't,
what,
it wasn't, it was very short before everything went, blew up, and we ended up going to the embassy.
and then look at this. So market is open now.
Mm-hmm.
Not a lot of
Yeah.
volume.
No, there won't be for a while.
Wait a minute, 1250. No, we don't.
It won't be until about 7 o'clock. My time.
Oh, I'm still in replay. That's why. Let me get out of replay mode. There we go. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Volume, and definitely you're not going to see it outside the U.S. market. I mean, there's some exceptions to that. Very seldom, but sometimes when that Asian market opens, which it does here in a couple hours, but that London exchange, when it opens up in the middle of the night.
Is when it really starts.
Yeah. So 10, 30, 11
Sometimes,
o'clock at night on for me, Alaska.
yeah, yeah.
Pretty busy. But here's kind of a little idea of what we can maybe expect here. Let's see here, I kind of my pencil. I do kind of expect a little sideways with a kind of an overall bearish sentiment. Things are kind of just kind of drift back down, in this space between the 100 EMA here and current
Mhm.
price, I think is going to kind of close. That's just kind of a little guess on my part.
And also too, I got nailed the other day when Powell said he might cut interest, but he didn't. He was still waiting to see what. He was still looking to see it, inflation. Boy, the bottom fell out and took me out in a hurry. I forgot to check.
And I think I know what you're talking about. It was a couple weeks ago, because I actually have not traded all that much in the past couple weeks. I'm just getting back up on the horse right now. Just visitors here, guests,
Yeah, make that
surgery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, how did that go? It sounds like you did fine in the surgery.
Yeah, it was textbook. Everything worked out really well.
That's
I
great.
still feel a little different, but when they go in there and kind of mess with your heart that way, you know, inflame it and put it into AFib and then, you know, kind of short circuit it. It takes a little while for the heart to kind of recover. It doesn't like being messed with
Okay.
like that, but not no painful. It's really just that catheter, you know, that kind of goes up from your kind of your leg area, you know, and
Right. Up into it. Yeah. It's amazing how much stuff they can do from that. From there.
phenomenal.
I've seen them take valves out and replace them. I mean, it's amazing.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. But no, I'm very grateful because I mean, it was actually last Tuesday at this time was where I really was kind of cleared with no restrictions, but it's been 2 weeks since I actually had that procedure. So I'm very grateful.
You
Uh,
got to rest after that long trip to Texas and Oklahoma
yeah, yeah, sure did, sure did. So
before the before everybody came in.
yeah, just one last thing I want to share before we end here, Susan. Again, because when you bring up the news, how, but that's what got me. I had 6 funded accounts, and then I had 10, and I blew them all up in a matter of a couple seconds.
Because it went straight down. Straight down.
Yeah, and that's what happened. So there was 2 things at play. One time it was in Tradeovate because I like the copy trader that's in there. The problem is you cannot do a bracket order or a protection order when you utilize the organic copy trader within Tradeovate.
Can you on Ninja?
Ninja, absolutely. Absolutely. You
Oh,
can
I would have
predefine
to.
all your different bracket orders that you want for, you can make
Okay.
it, you can give them different names, different sizes based on how many micros or minis you're trading, and you just select that particular predefined risk and reward, you know, or where your stop loss is, how far your stop loss is going to be, you know, from your entry point. And so once you're filled, and boom, that bracket automatically populates. But so what I did with Tradeovate as I was working some of the funded accounts, well, one of them wasn't new. One of them was I did not pay attention, and I ended up thinking I was in my micro NASDAQ. I was actually in the NASDAQ, and so I ended up basically putting in like 4. I was actually looking at like 2 micros is what I was thinking, or 4 micros. I ended up doing
You were
four
mini.
minis,
Mini.
not aware, and it went wrong immediately and just gone. So lesson learned is now I've got a checklist driven. I will review every setting and every step when I'm in Tradeovate. Second thing with Tradeovate is the moment that I get into the trade, then all I have to do is just click again, and I can do a sell stop, sell limit, buy stop, buy limit. I can create
Right.
these different orders. It's not an actual bracket, it becomes a separate order, but it immediately provides me that opportunity to take profit quickly, or that opportunity to get out of the trade by having those trades. I have to manually go close the other one, you know, when one gets filled, but literally it's just a click, and then I do have that protection order put in, or even that take profit order. So you just can't do it predetermining it, you know, like we can with Ninja or TradingView. But it just dawned on me actually today, and I kind of working with it. I was in Tradeovate all day today, and it was a beautiful experience because it was so easy just to add that additional order just by clicking left click on the mouse, and right there it's there. It knows exactly what
Right.
volume is already, even though it's a different order. So that's a workaround for me, because one, where I blew up 6 accounts was I ended up loading up with minis thinking it was micros, and it just immediately went against me. It would have been fine if it was micros, but because it was minis, it just blew them all up. You know, I think I just looked away for a second. When I looked back, I was down $1,500. You know, I mean, that quick, and I was like, "What just happened?" And then I realized I was loaded up in minis. The other one was I hadn't really tightened or moved up my stop my stop was pretty loose again because I was managing the trade. I forgot to check the news. Well, actually, I did know that there was news happening, but just completely spaced it off. And when Powell spoke, everything dropped. And it
Absolutely.
actually that dropped so hard and so fast with a stop loss, that it
How much was
actually
your stop loss?
it went right through my stop loss, another $1,000 before it actually filled.
Yeah.
Because it became
And
a
if you,
market.
if you,
Once
yeah, and if you pulled it down, you were like at 6,000 minus 6,000.
yeah, I was like minus 2,000 on 10 accounts right there. And it
Yeah.
just went like through butter right through my stop loss and down. So again, lesson learned now. So I've got my news page, finance right here.
Check it every morning.
Check it every morning, and then I'll set my alarm, or whatever I got to do to remember it.
Yep.
But here's like, what do we got?
And there was no reason for it other than it was just a way to take out a bunch of traders. That's what it boiled down to.
Yeah, because usually, I mean, news is definitely or is a catalyst. But
Mhm.
but there was two instances, um, end of April, early May, where the news was so, if it impacted, I mean, just instantaneous price change, that if you were in it the wrong way, you lost. I was in it
Yeah.
the wrong way on that second one. But now I got a bad habit where I kind of overlooked the news for a little while, and next thing I know, it got me.
You're right.
So today's Tuesday, really just
Yeah.
nothing significant today.
Home sales.
Home sales, and then
Oh, minutes of the FOMC meeting.
yeah. So that might be, and again, that's 10 a.m. So again, 10 o'clock Alaska time or 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. How many times is 10 o'clock a very significant time? It is.
Right.
So I just don't, I'm out, before these news comes in. I'll just get out. And I'll wait a few minutes for it to end, and then I'll if it's a non-event, well, I can just get back in. If it is a big event, then I'm going to look at getting in a better place.
Yep.
But I just kind of wanted to share that is I lost a little visibility on news. And then it was such a drastic move that by the time my stop loss got triggered, then it became a market order. It was $1,000 later. So down 500 where my stop loss was, but then another 1,000, and it's actually more down. I think I actually had it went down to like 2,000, but the bleep 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 every account just fell off the radar because they were no longer valid.
I mean, and it's so shocking. You sit there and just go, what happened?
Yeah. And again, that's ignorance, meaning lack of discipline, because
Right.
the
Didn't
news,
check it.
the information, to be able to plan accordingly based on news is there. And I got lazy that day, and I missed it. So trading a mini when I thought it was a micro, and then the other one is not respecting the news, kind of forgetting it. I just kind of want to share that because that between those two events, that was 16 funded accounts that I had to start over again with. One of them was a group of 6, and the other one was a group of 10, and then
It's
I just haven't really
heartbreaking.
traded much
It's just
since.
heartbreaking.
Yeah,
You're just like,
yeah.
yeah. I was so damned and determined I was going to make it. So $31 from it, and I'm going to jump up and down. I may eat chocolate tomorrow.
Yeah, when I funded today, I hit close the trade thinking I was right there at the target, and next thing I know, by the time the dust settled, I was $14 short.
Yes, so
I'm
you're
like,
about
am I going to go into another trade and risk getting set back? Well, I did. The next thing I'm 120 short, and then I'm 300 short.
yeah,
But
because that's what I kept doing. Because I kept going. I just got to make this. I got to make this. I got to make this.
yeah.
Don't do that. Just walk away.
Just walk away.
There's
Wait another
another,
day.
there's another day. There's another day. You don't have to do it today.
Yeah, yeah. If it wasn't this bullish move right in here, I wouldn't have made it, but I did. But I had to do it.
Good for you.
I had to do a 300 versus like a $15 win by the time, but I did stick my losses. Like even that first one, I'm like, I'm not going to risk more than 100 to try to get this, $15. And then I think I did the same thing. I'm not going to risk more than 100 to even get 120. But then of course I had to get 300. So now I'm like, slow down, dude. What are you doing? And reassessed everything, assessed bullish long. We're getting up around this all-time new high. I'm like, yeah, I think there's a lot of sentiment, to push up through that. So, all right, that's a wrap for this week, Susan.
Okay. Thank you, Jake.
That added some value, and I'll be
Oh,
doing.
it did.
Oh, good. I will be doing our fun
I-
account challenge here a little less than an hour, so maybe I'll see you on that net. I'm going to repeat a lot of the same stuff.
Yeah, I think I'll probably just listen to you in the recording because I've got some stuff I've got to go outside and do before it rains.
Sounds good, Susan.
Thanks, Jake.
You bet. Very glad I got to spend some time with you today. You have a blessed rest of
Me
your week.
too.
All right.
You too.
Bye.
Bye bye.